As I said, I lived in a Jewish neighborhood that really prized education. So the grade school I went to was very good. Junior, senior high school I went to was very good. Got a good, well-rounded, call it liberal arts education. And when I got to Carnegie Tech, a lot of the students there, even the very good ones, either didn't have that kind of education or didn't care about it. They didn't care about the humanities. They cared about engineering, for example. So the English professors really took a liking to me because I was one of the rare students who liked reading a poem and could understand what was going on in a poem, who could write a good essay about what was going on in the poem. So they encouraged me and convinced me that maybe I could have a future as an English professor, since I had realized I couldn't be a math professor. And they must have written unbelievably good letters of recommendation for me, because I got into several top universities for graduate school in English, including Harvard, which is where I actually went. And that'll be the next step in the story, because that didn't turn out well either. It was because it was on my birthday. It was July 3rd, 1968. I went to talk to the then head of the MIT linguistics department, a man named Morris Halley. He was the one who gave, I mentioned him before, I think, Chomsky his first job. Did I mention that before?
Oh, right,
yeah.
yeah.
And I told him that, you know, I was a Harvard student in English and I needed to get a course related to structure of language to, you know, satisfy their requirements. And and he was going to be co-teaching the course. So I asked if that would be okay. And he said, oh, sure, come along. You want to learn this stuff? Come on, we'll teach it to you. So that was the end between my first year and second year at Harvard and their PhD program. So beginning in my second year at Harvard, I was signed up for a couple courses at Harvard and also for this linguistics course at MIT. And I was doing fine in it because, you know, the Chomskyan approach to syntax, it was a course in syntax, is very mathematical. And I had a pretty good math background. So I was doing fine. But it was maybe a month in that it really clicked what it was all about, how it was telling us something about how the human mind is organized and works. And I got more and more interested and more fascinated. And the course was co-taught by Morris Halley, who actually was, until his death a couple of years ago, the leading scholar in sounds, in phonology, but also knew some syntax. And it was co-taught by an MIT graduate from 1967 named John Robert Ross, Hadge Ross, who was already one of the top syntacticians in the world. And Morris taught the first half of the course, and then when it got too deep into syntactic theory, Hadge Ross took over and taught the second. And he really encouraged me and told me, yeah, you should apply here given your new interests, and there's a good chance that you'll get in, Howard, he told me, but we get 100 applicants and we only take 10 students a year, so you better look into other possibilities too. So I did look into at least one other possibility. At Harvard, there was a linguistics department, there still is, and I went to talk, I made an appointment with the head of the Harvard linguistics department and told him, look, I'm here already in the English department. I have a graduate prize fellowship, which is portable. You can use it anywhere at Harvard till you get your PhD. So it wouldn't have cost him a penny. And said, but now I've taken a linguistics course at MIT. I've gotten really interested in linguistics. So I'm wondering if there are any possibilities here. He didn't let me get further than that. He said, no, don't even bother applying. You're not the kind of student we want here. Wow. Unfortunately, I got into MIT anyhow. So that fall semester, that was fall of '68, I was taking a couple of courses at Harvard and linguistics at MIT. And then I guess admissions decisions are made early in the spring. So I was signed up for a couple more courses at MIT and a couple of courses at Harvard. And then as soon as I got word that I was admitted to MIT, some complications, but basically I dropped the Harvard courses. And then for fall of '69, I just was entirely in MIT. Yeah, the complication was summer support, because while I was still a Harvard student, I was supported all the time, including the summer. But if I wasn't going to start at MIT until the fall, and I dropped out of Harvard at this point, what would I do to pay the rent in the summer? So, well, as it turns out, I had gotten an NSF. I guess they nominated me for at MIT for an NSF graduate fellowship, and it was supposed to start when I started at MIT. And so I went to talk to Morris, and I said, well, it's going to start when I start MIT. It said it doesn't matter when I start MIT, but it'll start when I start MIT. Can I start in the summer? And he said, well, we don't have any classes in the summer. And I said, that's okay. Can you just officially start me in the summer? And he said, sure. So then I dropped my Harvard courses.
Okay.